Nancy Pelosi, that's Mama Bear of the Democratic Party. You know that.
So that was one of the at least several attempts over the last few years that Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tried to make nice with Nancy Pelosi. And we're seeing this week what that actually bought her in practice, because Mama Bear has no interest in ever passing the bear torch to the next generation of bear leadership. Apparently, according to Punchbowl News, behind the scenes, the former speaker is waging a war to stop Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez from becoming the top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee. She is instead pushing for Representative Gerry Connolly to win the high-ranking role, and has been actively working to tank AOC's bid while making calls on behalf of Connolly. So what you should understand is that Connolly is 74 years old, is a more senior member of the committee. He also, I believe, last month was diagnosed with cancer, which could theoretically prove to be, a difficulty as a member of Congress. But he did receive not only Pelosi's support, but the support of the backing of the New Democrats, the largest coalition of centrist, corporatist Democratic lawmakers. And so that's what he has. Now, on AOC's side, she has apparently, according to behind the scenes sources, the majority support of the Democrats on the actual committee. But it is going to be the Democratic Steering and Policy Committee that decides who to recommend to the full Democratic caucus to take that position. And so, which in the end could prove more influential? Some centrists and Nancy Pelosi, or the actual people who have worked with AOC on that committee and think that she would do an amazing job as the head of it? We'll have to see.
Yeah, so here's my thoughts on this. So first of all, I'm in favor of the new guard, okay? So Jamie Raskin was challenging Jerry Nadler on the Judiciary Committee. We talked about it here on the show, and I said it should definitely be Jamie Raskin. Good news, Nadler has now stepped aside and said, yes, Jamie, you take over, okay? And that's gonna relate to why I'm backing AOC over Connolly here. Number one, Pelosi's on the other side. So 99 out of 100 times, except for Biden dropping out, I'm gonna be on the other side of Pelosi. And so, when it comes to AOC, look, there's some issues I don't agree with her on social issues, etc. But that is not at all relevant to this job. We all have to be rational and make logical decisions, right? Overall, I agree with her on economic policies. Again, I'm not entirely sure it's relevant to the Judiciary Committee job. So why am I in favor of AOC here? Other than overall, I support her, right? She's on our side of the fence, right? And she's younger and she's more dynamic, etc. It's because I've seen her in these hearings and she asks great questions. So Jamie Raskin asked great questions. And if we need anything on the Judiciary and Oversight Committees, it's great questions, right? And it's tough, aggressive questions. Now, Connolly, I remember that one time he really lit it. No, I don't actually. I don't ever remember Connolly challenging any banker or,
Trump administration
Republican, et cetera, right? I don't remember the old guard doing that ever. It kind of partly depends on your definition of old guard, because if you go to the Senate, then Bernie and Elizabeth Warren are kind of legendary for it. So like, again, don't let hey, do they agree with me 100%? Who cares? What's the job, right? So I supported Bernie Sanders over Elizabeth Warren, but if you say, give me one person in the Senate to ask tough questions of a banker, I'd pick Elizabeth Warren, right? So AOC would be great at this, and it should definitely be her.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, right? There's a lot of inefficiencies, a lot of things that go by the wayside that, one party gets blamed over the other, but we all know establishment figures, no matter which party, are a part of pocketing money or doing things for the huge donors that give them the money to do so. Nancy Pelosi, we see why she's not very much behind this. If there's too much of a new guard, I kind of feel like no matter who it is, if they have a newer energy, have a different perspective than the same old politics and the same old approach to things, Nancy Pelosi is going to be against it. It's like with anyone else. Look, Mitch McConnell can't walk anymore and he won't leave. I mean, I see that he's going to eventually now, but the whole point is to hold on to that power. And even when you don't have the power anymore, and as the Nancy Pelosi, as far as her speakership, it has to be someone that I've endorsed, someone that I want to be there. There's this weird stranglehold and this obsession with holding on to power, even though you don't have it, bro. Look, the world is gonna change, the world's gonna progress. And only thing that older, especially in this case, politicians do is hold that up for 10 years or so, as long as they can, for whatever reason, bro, you've already got all this money in many ways that you're making it, and you want to continue holding on to some kind of power, maybe something she doesn't want to have exposed that, again, isn't just about her. It's about all of this lack of accountability and efficiency with the way things work. So if maybe she's worried that newer guards are gonna ask and answer more questions than they were willing to before. There's a lot of signs behind this, but I guess she has to continue to put her thumb on the scale to get the people in that she wants. I'm not sure how deep her explanations are going to be that are going to satisfy folks that want to see something different, especially seeing the way this last election came out.
Yeah, look, I would say, I think, as you pointed out, this is not the only leadership fight. So obviously there's Jamie Raskin, there's Jared Huffman got Raul Grijalva to step down for Natural Resources Committee ranking member. Melanie Stansbury is now challenging Jared Huffman. So there's multiple of these. But I think this one in particular, well, judiciary is really, really important, to be clear. But I think this one's also super important because, like, for the next 2 years, basically, the Democrats have very little power in the House. What do they have beyond the ability to ask questions in these committee hearings? And ideally, if the Dems retake the House in 26, to start to do actual oversight of the Trump administration, who will at that point have committed God only knows how many crimes and constitutional violations. So you should have a person who has a track record of holding these sorts of people accountable. She has been great. I mean, we don't need to cite all the times, but, and I'm also blanking on the former Trump fixer with the podcast. She had great questioning of him that revealed some of Trump's fraud years ago. Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen, thank you. And so it goes back quite a while. And so I think on the substance, it's great to have her in this position, but also, like, I think Pelosi might be generally opposed to what she might see as her generation being deposed from these positions of power, but also she has always had a particular issue with AOC and with the squad, despite AOC bending over backwards to try to fit in and to placate Pelosi. And I think this fight is about oversight, but I think it's also potentially about 2028. There's not a lot of opportunities in the House to really raise your national profile, but I do think being the ranking member of oversight for the next 2-4 years could be a good way to do that, to draw a lot of attention by being strong in your opposition to the Republicans and to the Trump administration. And I don't think Pelosi wants AOC being in any stronger position to challenge one of the litany of centrist Democrats that she's probably already pre-supporting for the 2028 primary.
How much do you guys think? Sorry, Cenk. How much do you guys think that there's a possibility of something small and personal? Look, AOC went on The View and was talking about she's Mama Bear and had the huge smile. I was like, there's something else behind this. This is like it seemed fake to me. Like she's trying to butter up but doesn't really like this woman. So I wonder if there's any behind the scenes bitterness or disagreements that are never gonna be voiced publicly, that it could be as simple as that. Sometimes we overplay the degree of importance that these very important and powerful people have. And it could be as simple as something she didn't like the way she talked to her one day. How dare you didn't call me Ms. Pelosi? I don't know. These people are
Remember,
pettier than they think.
What was the first thing AOC did that, other than her win in the primary, that drew a lot of attention? It was like her before day one protest outside of Pelosi's office with Sunrise Movement.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible that grudge has never gone away.
Oh, no, 100%. But guys, so it's even deeper than that. First of all, Ryan Grimm wrote about this in his most recent book. And so AOC said that as soon as Pelosi stepped down, that her treatment in the House got way better. And so, like, the corporate wing never liked the Justice Democrats. They always hated the Justice Democrats, right? So that's where it began from. But it was extra personal for Pelosi. She said all those dismissive comments about Green Dream or whatever, Medicare for all. I have a poster in my basement, and so and that's why I thought AOC being conciliatory towards Nancy Pelosi was counterproductive, because then you're not fighting for our positions. You're giving in to her, and what I said, and you might remember on air, was they're never going to give you anything back. Never. They're just going to fight you tooth and nail, and they're going to try to tear you down. So they're not your friends, they're not your colleagues. And look at what they did to Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush. So, and by the way, Marie Newman, everybody forgets about that, but perfectly normal Justice Democrat, didn't cause any trouble, didn't do anything. They're like, no, eliminate her. She's a progressive. No, these corporate goons like Nancy Pelosi have always been against them. Now, if you cared about the Democratic Party, to I think John's point, you would build up your bench. You would build up your younger stars so they could be in a position to take over, like Connolly. What is he, 98? Come on, this is ridiculous. So hey, corporate wing of the Democratic Party. I know you want to hold on to power forever, and we're going to wheel you guys around in wheelchairs like we did with Feinstein forever and ever. But you got to let go at some point. Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.